So I guess this will be my my wrap up thoughts on Michael Jackson. Um, I was listening to a tribute like the day after he died on it was actually kind of a canned tribute from a national broadcasting a national broadcasting station, and but it had clips of people, crowd, um, not shots, but you know, fan reaction, and also sound bites of him throughout the years. My nose is really bothering me. And I had an epiphany. As the years went by and things got weirder with him, and he got accused of molesting those children, I didn't really want to believe that that happened. But at that point, I think I checked out. It wasn't, it was, he had gotten weird enough that I just didn't know. And so I just checked out. I was like, this is too much for me. I don't really know. Of course, people want money, but he's really weird at this point. And so I'm just bailing. Like, I just cannot deal with this anymore. And it seemed like it had been a while since he had made music that I could relate to, if any music at all. So I guess I was leaning toward the guilty camp, if anything. But because I didn't think about it a whole lot, I didn't give it much thought one way or another. So I'm listening to this tribute, and they were obviously interviewing him maybe at the beginning of when he got like the Neverland Ranch, because they were asking him about Bubbles, and they were asking him about the zoo and some of the animals that he had there. Maybe it's because I'm an animal person and I kind of relate to certain animals or whatever, but he said he had this animal, and he said he had, the snake, and that Diana Ross, and she was freaked out by it, but they had been recording some stuff, and that they were both peeling his skin off because he, shed once every 3 months or something. So they were kind of doing that together, and then he had these two deer, and I don't know what they were, prince or princess or something. They had two names, and as he was describing these animals, he just had this quality, and it was an audio recording. I couldn't even see his face or anything, and maybe it's a quality I recognize in myself, I mean, I have my cat, and I love her so much, and, sometimes when I, talk about my flying, and he just was talking about these deer, and maybe it's deer in particular, because I think deer just have these great qualities about them, this innocent qualities about him. Oh, that's what he said. He said, yeah, I have these two deer, and I raised them. I fed them from a bottle. And I just had this epiphany. And I was like, he didn't do it. He didn't molest those kids. He didn't. I'm like, he was stuck. He had a shit childhood, a crazy, crazy abusive dad, who, by the way, if you saw on the BET Awards, the clip I saw for 2 seconds, they like put a microphone in his face. He doesn't say a thing about his son. Not a thing. He starts talking about his record label, or like some whatever thing he's pimping. And I do mean pimping. I think he whored those kids out. I think he saw dollar signs. He saw his kids were given absolute gifts from God. I mean, they were all incredibly talented, and then he had a couple of children who were even more talented. And he took them, and he saw nothing but money in them. I don't know the whole situation, but so Michael had a terrible childhood, and then was even further thrust into the spotlight, further thrust into the limelight. And I've come to believe, I really think that he just decided he was maybe not even decided. I mean, it might be like one of these like trauma responses. He was stuck in a childhood that he never got. He had a lot of money, and he was gonna have what he never had, whether that be Neverland or animals, or you know an environment that he was going to create his world, his fantasy world. And that might have come along with a lot of different, his mind might have started to create some sort of obsessions and some sort of things I don't understand. I have my own mental twists and idiosyncrasies that can border on obsession and whatnot. I just don't have millions of dollars to feed it, and a great aspiring talent that people will, that allow me to kind of act the way, however, to, accede to every whim that I might have. Um, but I had the epiphany. I was like, he didn't do it. He didn't molest those kids. He might have wanted to have children near him. He might have physically, like, had them in his bed or had sleepovers or whatever, like kids do. Kids hang out with other kids. They have sleepovers with other kids. They might be physically close to other kids. But he didn't have it here. He didn't have the complexity to be evil, or the complexity to be sexual with them. I don't know. It hit me. It just hit me. I was like, he didn't do it. He didn't. And then it came out after he died, like that day or a day later, that the one kid, at least the first kid, said he was lying, that his dad made him do it, which that makes sense to me too. Your kid's spending a lot of time with Michael Jackson, who's kind of a freak and who has a shit ton of money. If you're a fucked up dad, you might see again another opportunity to make a lot of money off your son's situation. Hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is what you're going to say, and this is what we're going to do. And I don't care what you think. I don't care what you think of Michael Jackson. I don't care how this is going to ruin you. We're going to do this, and you're going to go along, and you're going to play the game, and you'll get whatever you want out of it, because we're going to get a lot of money from this. Right? I mean, as sick as that is, but yeah, I don't know. And, there's been a lot of this and that and whatever, but I think he was just a sick man at the end, in a variety of ways. I think physically he was very ill, and I think from the things I've been reading about prescription painkillers, that I think he was just I know too many people who have had legitimate problems, pains, surgeries, chronic illnesses, that get prescribed prescription painkillers legitimately. They need them. They're in pain. They get them from a reputable doctor, and then something happens. At some point, they probably don't need them anymore, but our bodies physically become addicted to them. You don't have to be an addict for that to happen. Naturally, our bodies become addicted to opiates and benzos and stuff like that. And once that happens, something happens up here too. And I think then the lies start. I have a prescription. This was given to me by a doctor. I won't be able to sleep. I'll still be in pain, because now we've also developed, a physical addiction to it. And so then it starts combining the physical addiction with the mental obsession. And then you might as well be an old-fashioned alcoholic or an old-fashioned addict. It doesn't matter how you get there. Once you have those two things going, an obsession of the mind and an allergy of the body, it doesn't matter, what kind, and then it's, just a matter of being spiritually sick. I'm going to get cut off here. But anyway, I don't think Jackson did it. It's really too bad that he had to end this way. So, that's my last words. Probably not my last words, but that's part 2.